Welcome to our film Mining on First Nation Land. This film belongs to the First Nation of Natchonayaktan in Mayo in the Yukon Territory in Canada. It was made by Robert Gebauer, Jörg Oschmann, Susanna Gartler and myself in 2016. This film results from a research project called LACE, Labor Mobility and Community Participation in the Extractive Industries, which is funded by the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council of Canada, the Yukon government, and is part of a larger research program called RESTA, Resources and Sustainable Development in the Arctic. Mayo is located in central Yukon, nearby the Keno Hills, where over 100 years there was a production for silver ore, and also in the region some family-based placer mining for gold took place. Currently there is a large production for gold in hard rock mining. It's an open pit mine nearby Mayo, and this provides substantial jobs locally. The silver production in the Keno Hill area is currently on hold, and people wait for care and maintenance, or care and maintenance take place, and people wait for reclamation and remediation of this area, which has a toxic legacy. The First Nation of Natchonayaktan belongs to the Northern Tutchone language group and has around 600 members. They live in Mayo, but also in Canada and abroad, in several different places. The First Nation of Natchonayaktan has settled the land claims agreements with the federal government and the territorial government in 1993. And this means that they also own parcels of the traditional territory. They have surface rights and also subsurface rights. Companies are obliged to consult with the First Nations in the Yukon based on the Yukon Environmental Impact Assessment Act. Nevertheless, people are on the one hand concerned for the integrity of the environment. They call themselves stewards of the land, but on the other hand, they are also dependent on jobs from mining. There is only a little economic activity besides mining, like in services, in restaurants, and so on, and in tourism, and jobs in the field of administration. So it is important for many people, as you will see in the film, to have access to the mining jobs because they provide substantial salaries. And this is important also to do subsistence activities. It's important to buy rifles, boats, skidoos, a truck, and in general, hunting gear is expensive. Also, the fuel for the truck, for the boat, for the skidoo is quite expensive. So it's a mixed picture with very mixed opinions. And this film shows these opinions of members of the First Nation of Natchonayaktan. And it also shows the First Nations' demand and call for cultural integrity, self-determination, and sustainability. Please enjoy the film and thank you very much.
We're mainly moose hunters over caribou, since the caribou are now gone from Keno Hill, and the sheep are way too far back to go back and get them. And also we have outfitters that have a right to hunt on their concessions. First Nation people are very spiritual people, and the first thing was respect. Respect, what you take, and only take what you need. So with the moose, you thank the Creator after the moose is down. Thank the Creator for giving that animal's life to help maintain your life, and that's the ritual. And you use it all. You don't leave nothing behind. There's just a pile of poop left, and that's it. Mayo was one of the prime spots for the silver and ore out of Keno Hill. The sacks were piled right up on the front street there, and the boats would come in, and the First Nation people would have a big crew to load the boat, and also cut wood for the steamers, the steamboats. It wasn't until later on, after First Nations were allowed to be with non-Native people, that they were able to get jobs in the mining sector. There's a lot of different nationalities in Keno Hill. Every person that you met up there was a different nationality, because they were miners and they followed the jobs. That's when my biological father came up here to work, was in Keno Hill from Alberta, and he brought a lot of friends along with him. But the interaction caused a lot of social problems for the village because of the women and the guys, and the alcohol, introduction of the alcohol, which was devastating.
The mine would bring the ore bags down to the riverfront where the steamboat came and picked it up. And we spent a lot of time down there too as children, playing on the ore bags and watching the boats come in and watching the boats go out. And well, that was in the summer when we came back from residential school. So we only spent the summers in Mayo, and the rest of the time we were gone.
The do's and the don'ts of mining companies is, the do's are you must associate yourself with the First Nations of Yukon in regards to the mining issues. Without that communication values permanently in place as the first part of the process, nothing will happen. And that's part of the process that we've developed. We have documents, good mining practices, and I just can't bring the other ones up the top of my head, but there is a process that we need to abide by. The first contact is contact with the governments of First Nations in Yukon, and then we filter it down to the economics, et cetera, et cetera. The proponents that come into our country, we expect to have the CBAs in place, the IBAs in place before any construction happens.
Mining can be good for people if they just want to make money, but they have to learn how to respect the land and the water. There should be no pollution.
Our position in regards to mining is that we must be part of the development of the mine. through our agreements, we agree that the land use planning issue is the pillar of our agreements with Canada, and we will abide by that. The integrity of the environment is very important to the First Nation of Yukon, and we look forward to environmental protection, first and foremost.
Well, I think mining is essential up here. We need it. We have almost nothing else except the government, the Yukon government, that gives jobs to the people here, and maybe some private businesses, but more or less I think our people depend on the mine.
I did make good money and I like to survive. So I can buy stuff for, because I'm also a trapper too. We only work mostly in the summer, so I would try to make as much money as I could, and then buy my skidoo or fix it up, and start building material, logs, getting it ready to build a cabin to haul out. There was a lot of time. The money that I made was I spent it back onto the land to take me back out to the bush so I can build cabins and look after it and set things up.
Is the mining sector something reliable?
In my own opinion, I don't think so, because it could be good for 10 years and then drop again, and then you're kind of stuck not being employed unless you go somewhere else, which I don't think is very sustainable. If you have a family, you want to keep your family together, you don't want to be moving. So it's more of a, if I say again, I would say have a good backup, so once maybe the mining goes down, you have something else to rely on.
Usually have second job. Most time, because mine is unpredictable. You gotta work right away too. Some places only last a little while. They're short sometimes. Sometimes they could go for a few years.
Some of the people there just found out that, I don't want to work here. I don't want to go underground. I don't want to do this, So as long as they had a chance at see what opportunities they have, then it was okay. Lots were working in the kitchen and cleaning areas and office areas. And the Aboriginal liaison, I pretty well could go everywhere on the mine site and just check if things were safe for the workers, or if there's complaints, go check them out and whatever else. So.
What do you miss when you're away?
Probably the kids and home cooking and everything. More of a home life than a camp life.
If you're a single person and you have a child, as myself as example, I can't just go to camp for 2 weeks and then where's my son go? The obstacles I would say is training. There's a lot of certain jobs that are posted, but some people don't have the background in that. It would be a lot easier if the companies provided on-site training or education to help build up people's skills to be able to access these jobs.
And if you do trades, you just pretty well had to know exactly what you're going into, and apprenticeships, how does that work, all those different steps. I also told every mine, I would like a sheet to show you, this is the type of jobs that are available in my mining. And then if you're interested in one of them, go train for it. And usually they'll give you a list of what jobs are available in the mine site.
There is opportunity for our citizens to get educated. We have an education department. You come in and then apply, and they will pay for schooling and give you living allowance and etc.
Away, 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 away.
We need to look at the areas of tourism. We need to look to the areas of agriculture, because we have lands that will sit fallow for years if we don't touch them. And currently, we're beginning to educate our children in regards to producing your own foods off the land, and setting up programs in regards to training them and such. But we're not a nation that wants to get filthy rich. We know that there's damaging issues and creating too much money, but we want to be sustainable, and we want to be able to maintain the integrity of the environment, and for our generations to come, our children to enjoy. Absolutely.
Away, 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 away.
In 25 years, I hope that our government is very self-sustaining and that our people are very self-reliant, and that my son he'll be about 27, and that he can provide for his mom and be able to go on the land and know all the traditional skills, like how to hunt, how to get wood, or knowing the stories of the land. And that in my reality, I would love in 25 years that he be the generation where we have revived our language and that he could speak it then.